Hey everyone, welcome back to Crypto Cash. Thank you so much for joining me here. Hope you're having an amazing day. Happy Friday to you and your family. Taking a look here at Bitcoin, seeing what's going on. Really cool stuff actually. I like what's happening here. This gives us some really good, well, not only profits, obviously we want to celebrate that, but more important, when we look at the charts, we can see that things are going according to plan. Now, is it going to drop like a rock from here? Like I mentioned, probably not. 29.5, 28,000 range may be a possibility. But until we get there, I want to celebrate a cool couple of things here. First of all, great job, Alexandria, as per usual. It's one of my admins here over. Took a nice little INJ short injective, I think it's called. And then, of course, we got Bitcoin, nice little long there. Nice job, Nate Dogg, to squeeze that one in there from 29.8 to 30,200. And again, congrats to our community members for auto trading with some of our trades. We had 2 Bitcoin shorts open, hit both of our profit targets at 29.7, 29.5. And those are still open. But again, nice little 25 to 27% for each of those. So congrats on that. We're also going to take a quick look here at High Block Capital and kind of see what's going on. But I do want to open up with some important stuff because it's important to recognize this. Like, take a look at this here. This is normally there's like alerts that come out, right? And these are Telegram alerts that you can get to kind of notify you that money's been moving. On Binance, we saw $16.8 billion in USDT transferred in under 4 minutes. That is an insane amount of money. That's 3% of the total amount of trading volume on that exchange. So that is insane. Most of the time it's 1 to 2 billion. We see these prices up and down. We saw that in 4 minutes, 16.8 billion. That was effectively this candlestick here, or these 2 candlesticks that went from a nice little 31,000 for late longs getting wrecked down to about 29,400. Okay, so again, our profit targets 29.5, nice and easy. We had a base on previous Fibonacci levels, but the bottom line here is that that's going to shift the market there, and that could very well push us even lower. So we're going to talk about this and see if that extra amount of money coming into Binance, for example, is going to be essentially going to be driving the price action down. My guess is yes, but it's still a little too early to tell. Okay, so again, keep the shorts open if you're community members, of course. But for the most part, I would say try not to be a late short at this point, because you saw what happened to late longs, right? They got kind of hammered pretty hard at 31,000. So I would just recommend maybe dollar cost averaging right now if that is a consideration for you. I do feel like 30,000 range is potentially the bottom, but we still have a few other lower points that we might hit first too. Okay, so keep that in mind. We'll look at Elliott wave and see that head and shoulders pattern still happening, but there's a few things you want to recognize. So let's talk about what's going on here. First of all, liquidations, as crazy of a drop that was, 5% in like 15 minutes, we can see that we're looking at a total overall liquidation being very low. Okay, so we're not seeing a lot of liquidation here at this point. We can also see, of course, as well that there's more asks than bids. So a lot of folks are just trying to sell at this point. A lot more selling pressure in that overall sense there, which tells us that 30,000, 31,000 is a pretty strong resistance. We can also note here too that a lot of longs are closing their position, albeit probably not by their choice. So there's probably a lot of liquidations there. But generally speaking, there are less longs being opened today than closed. Okay, so more closed positions for longs. Same thing with shorts too, which basically makes sense because we were at 31,000 no less than 3 or 4 hours ago. Okay, so again, some interesting stuff coming on, but when you see these $16.8 billion transferred to an exchange all in about 5 minutes or less, you can expect funky stuff to happen. Okay, so again, it's just kind of how it works. All right, so let's take a quick peek here just at the longs here, kind of see where these are the late longs. You can see 31,000 got smashed. They all got liquidated there, roughly about 30,500. So they had a nice stop loss. And you probably asking yourself, why did that have that level? Well, a lot of times putting a stop loss just below the most recent low is the common practice. So you'll see that happen a lot. But if we look down lower here for shorts, we got some nice shorts here up at 31,000. Smart. If I wasn't sleeping, I probably would have done the same thing. But again, our previous shorts from 30,600, 30,700 still came in here for our second profit targets at the 29.5 range. So again, congrats to our members for that. But really cool stuff. Oh, before I forget to, make sure you check this out. We got a new user exclusive event here from BingX. You get $50 just by transferring and depositing $50. And of course, no KYC or VPN required here in the US, which is big for our Bybit members that got hit pretty hard with that. And then also, bottom line is you use 3,000 USDT, which is super easy, by the way, with leverage. You get a $100 USD bonus. Yeah, so just want to make sure you're aware of that. That is only available until July 31st. Link down below. Okay, so let's go ahead and dive into the daily and kind of see what's going on here. because this is where things get kind of interesting. So we're going to talk about a couple of different patterns here. First of all, we saw this previous descending wedge pattern, right? It started from the downside, continued to break upwards. We could be seeing the start of that right now. I think it's a little premature, but we could be very well seeing the start of a bull flag pattern, right? Where the price works itself into a descending type of wedge or channel and effectively breaks to the upside. Okay, so we saw this happen yesterday. What was it with Pepe coin, if I recall correctly? It has that type of pattern. Now, did it break out? We'll find out here soon. I'll go ahead and cover that again. But the bottom line is that we are looking at one of those situations where we could see this happen, but in order to validate this this bullish trend, we need to see a closure above any one of these highs here. Okay, and that's what brings us to this here. So we need a closure above 30,700. This candle wick up yesterday from 31,000, so what 31.3 looks like? That doesn't matter. We didn't close the candle at that time. Again, the day is still early, right? We could still very well close above that. But that's the validation that we're looking for, or an invalidation to the downside to effectively close above that level. So I've been talking about this for the whole week. 30,700 I feel is a point of contention. A closure above that on the daily is what we're looking for. And yes, I see this in the comments sometimes when folks are saying, oh, the price is above 30,700. What now? Well, the candlestick hasn't closed yet, right? It's a 24-hour candlestick. We need to wait for that. And that just tells us the average time frame in which the price is able to hold at that level. Those are things that are important. Again, to me, maybe not you, but I like to survive as a trader and be a very healthy trader, for lack of better terms. And I like to do that. So just to touch on this as well here, let's go ahead and sorry, I'm flipping through too many screens here. Let's do this here. Let's look at the down below here with our stochastic RSI, kind of see what's going on, because we can see this strong deviation here with stochastic. We can see money flow index is starting to drop. Again, this is dropping pretty hard for considering it's a 14-day lag. So we're taking that $16.8 billion and factoring it in. We're starting to see money coming out of the market. Even though, yes, money was technically transferred to the exchange, it was likely a USDT that was essentially cashed out, right? So again, in this case here, they sold a lot of coins. Price is coming down, RSI is coming down with it. We can see MACD is also coming down as well, so it's important to recognize, but we're not fully diverged. So in truth, while today seems like a very nasty candle, we don't have any confirmation that we're going to break bearish just yet. But the fact that we keep wicking down like this in a descending type of pattern leads me to believe with lower lows and lower highs that we're probably likely in that case. But again, yesterday was interesting, or earlier last night, for example, when the price shot up to 31K and then right down to 29.5. So it's just a nasty market. Be very careful in how you trade. I would be cautious with your swing trades. Keep them fairly loose, and make sure that your stop losses aren't super tight, because this is manipulation. Really, just wrecks a lot of folks. Okay, again, different strategies for different things here. Let's take a quick peek though here. I wanted to kind of show this here as well with the monthly closures here, because it's interesting how this worked out. Because yesterday we saw the previous month high wick down with a price action, came down to 29.8. Bounced off that pretty good. Now we got this candle wick that almost hit the 1 month open, which is 29,500. So, sorry, correction, 29,250. So 29,250 could very well be the next point in which we'll see here. If I'm not mistaken, that is close to a Fibonacci retracement level there if you look at a smaller time frame. Okay. So again, some different things to kind of think about here, but until we lose 29.7/30,000, I don't think we should be just, shorting everything, right? It's not quite the case, but it still kind of feels like that is the case, right? But here's the contradicting thing here. We got the price action making lower lows and lower highs, right? Or parallel highs and lower lows. And then out of nowhere, last night or earlier today, we saw this price action come up here and effectively hit this higher high. This implies that the next low has to be higher than the previous, which is interesting because we wicked all the way down there and we closed right here. So in truth, we still haven't broken free from this range in either direction. We're establishing lower lows and lower highs, and then concurrently higher highs and parallel lows. That's all sorts of confusing, by the way. Don't get me wrong, it's not exact science when it comes to this stuff. So what do we do in these situations? How do we mitigate the loss, maximize our gain? Well, we pay attention to some other oscillators, I would say. Those are probably more important in situations like this. We can see we've got a pretty significant divergence here. But again, that's followed by a previous convergence not less than 12 hours before that. So in a sense, these are a lot of false positives. So that's the unfortunate thing about this manipulation here. In truth, with us being range bound right now, buying the dip at 30,000 would seem to make the most sense to effectively be able to ride it out to 31 and sell somewhere between here and there. That's essentially what you do in range bound activity. That's what we're seeing for now. So until it can break free in either direction, we kind of got to assume it's going to continue sideways. But again, this candle wick is somewhat of a precursor, letting us know the price could come down lower. And with all that money coming to the exchange, they could totally wreck the market in an instant. $16 billion is a lot of money that can effectively manipulate a majority of the market. Okay, so just keep that in mind. Unfortunately, manipulation occurs very consistently. We take a look here, of course, at the 4-hour. We're underneath 50 on the RSI. That's basically a bearish sign. And again, stochastics kind of tells us we're coming down. So in truth, the likelihood of the price coming down from here is slightly higher than it is coming up, but we're still range bound, and the price, no matter what, is unwilling to close below 30,000. Okay, so that's a good and a bad sign, I guess, depending on how you look at it. Obviously, the type of trade that you're in. So again, that's the reason why we use trailing take profit targets through our automated system, is to ensure that the take profit target moves, or correction, you set the target profits. And then what happens is your stop loss adjusts up or down, depending on the direction you're trading, to essentially cover your loss. So with us taking that second profit target, our stop loss now is at break even, and we've already taken 70-80% of our profit. So even if the price comes back up to close us out, we're still in the green. And that's the beautiful thing about it. And that's one thing I do love about trading bots. They're very, very nice. So Cornix, thank you again for making that a reality for our team. We do also have discounts, of course, on our Discord, etc., for those things there. So let's go ahead and wrap things up with the hourly. I'm sorry, I'm getting a little wordy here today. Let's go ahead and take a look at, well, I think the cloud would be good, but also not, because it is, again, range-bound activity. Doesn't matter, honestly, too much. It does tell us, though, of course, that if you have a short position open, you may want to consider leaving it open. Whether or not we're above or below the cloud, we have this momentum to the downside, and it tells us that there's no point in closing your short if you have one for the moment. Okay. Again, still kind of early in that situation. If we take a look at our SVP, we can see that the amount of volume, we got this resistance shelf at about 30,700. Once again, that's the kind of normal number there. But we're building a volume profile at a lower price point here at 30,000 again. Big surprise, 30,000, point of contention. Take a look at TD sequential. We came up to a previous 4. So out of nowhere, the price just came down and wrecked it. So again, I'm sorry for all the longs that were probably in a good position there. The guy kind of hit. Hopefully you took some profit, but for lack of better terms, that's why we want to wait for confirmation, and there was no confirmation. Not saying that I expect this drop. Nobody can expect that. That is a crazy, crazy thing. But the truth is, you got to kind of prepare for stuff like this by making sure you don't have super tight stop losses. And our stop loss is a little bit further up, so again, all good shape, right? So the bottom line here, and what I'm trying to get at, is the overall sense of the market is uncertain. 30,000 is a very important number. Okay, again, losing 30,000 again, I don't think we're going to go super far down. I really think that this time it should hold. But if it were to come down again, I think 28.5 should be the lowest. The 0.618 Fibonacci retracement level is a very common gravitational location for the price to want to push itself to, and then it typically will turn around from there. Okay, so again, that's kind of where we're at there. I would say 28.6 to 29.5 is kind of the next potential range if we lose 29.7. So to me, I'm looking for, once again, an invalidation for the bearish signs at 30,700. We close above that on the daily, we're more likely to go up from there. If we close below, just say 30,000, an official close below 30,000, which we haven't seen yet in the last 7 trading days, then we're going to be potentially likely going lower. So to me, I'm looking for something like that. Keep that in mind, though. Or keep this in mind, this is a weekend coming up here, of course, so trading into the weekend may not always be the most favorable. So I may or may not take a trade later today, depending on the overall circumstances, but for lack of better terms, we're in a situation right now where patience is important, okay? So if you're a community member, watch some of my videos again, make sure you check out our trading library and ensure that you refamiliarize yourself with, risk management. It's important to work within your means. Just because I say that I want to go long or short doesn't mean you should either. You should take trades based on how you're doing and how you feel about this, because it's really important to be your own boss, right? I've been my own boss for a long time, and it's fantastic. And I can tell you it's mostly based on being patient and waiting for the right opportunity, and not just jumping in because I got mad that I got stopped out and flipping directions and reversing the trade. Okay? That can work sometimes, but it oftentimes will get you wrecked. All right. I hope that was helpful. Thanks again so much for joining me. I appreciate it if you watched all the way through. Kudos to you once more. I got a small handful of viewers that do that, so smart, very smart. I appreciate that. Nonetheless, thanks again. Like, subscribe, follow. Help us grow our Twitter if you don't mind, and obviously, be sure to be part of something bigger. And if you want that for yourself, CryptoCash.tech is the site. We've got a lot of new members coming over for our day trades and our swing trades. Really awesome opportunity. Thanks again. We'll see you tomorrow. Take care.